I'm Bobby Hoon, and let's queer up the USA view. Michigan Library Board moves 100 plus LGBTQ plus books without review. The Comraine District Library Board in Michigan is facing criticism after voting to relocate more than 100 books from the children's section to the adult section without completing its own review process. Many of these books have LGBTQ plus themes. The controversy began after 12 residents challenged over 200 library books in 2025. Library Director Sarah Niedert reviewed the titles, kept them all, and reshelved or relabeled some. But after reading only 58 books over 6 months, the board voted to move the remaining challenge titles to the adult section instead of reviewing each one. ACLU of Michigan says the decision raises serious due process and First Amendment issues. The organization also noted that the challengers admitted they had not read all the books and objected to the LGBTQ lifestyle and, quote, sexual exploitation of children, unquote. It further alleged the board worked with anti-LGBTQ plus hate group Alliance Defending Freedom to create a policy giving the board final authority over book placement. PEN America also condemned the decision. Freedom to Read noted that 39% of books banned in the U.S. public schools during the 2024 to 2025 school year featured LGBTQ plus characters. It is far from surprising. That's how conservatism rely on people who either miss the small things or basically just discounted it altogether. Library boards, school boards, they flooded those zones and then set up to create their own agenda, and then to the detriment of the rest of the reading public. And of course, 12 people challenged 200 books. They probably just pull up the catalog, type in gay, and basically just list every book in there. Or sex, or whatever. And that's rich quote saying the sexual exploitation of children, when every other day we have Christian pastors getting arrested for a whole list of heinous crimes.
Oh, of course. But like one on like the local people are like, oh, well, you know, the right puts so much effort into small elections because very crazily rich people fund that. And there's no one on the left that does that because rich people don't tend to support the left, just as if you didn't know that, as a group people. But the Alliance Defending Freedom is a very specific hate group that I think the LGBT community has not taken seriously enough over the years. People ask, like, why is abortion not a right in this country anymore? Because the Alliance Defending Freedom, they did lots and lots of little cases. They do this on these issues. They've been doing this in schools for a long time. I used to cover this at Media Matters. I would write about this in The Advocate. The Alliance Defending Freedom, we as an LGBTQ community do not take this hate group seriously enough. They're the most dangerous thing happening to our community.
I agree. I mean, plus, you've people who are unaware, ADF is also notorious for creating straw man lawsuits. Remember, the website maker who's Christian do not want to make a wedding website for a gay couple, or the baker who doesn't want to decorate a cake for a gay couple. They all try to push it so that they can claim First Amendment rights that these cake makers and these photographers are exempt from working with LGBTQ people just because of their quote-unquote religious views. One, as if I'm going to look for a wedding photographer, I'm certainly looking for someone who advertises diversity, not just, the fact that you can pick up a camera.
I think viewers get that. Larry, what do you think?
Well, I think certainly a publicly funded library, there needs to be more due diligence. And if they only read 58 books, I mean, the only positive thing, if you want to call it that, is that they were moved to an adult section, but they didn't do their due diligence. So I would say that needs to be looked at. I mean, constantly we're seeing that these right-wing influencers are getting their way, and then the people who should be represented are not represented. In this case, the people who fund that library.
Exactly. Like, what are there, like, two people being in love is not like quote-unquote adult content. Or if it is, then you have to do the most extreme thing, which is every romantic relationship can only be for adults.
I mean, and consider how much horror movie elements are within the Bible itself. Have you read the Old Testament? It's,
Well, is the Old Testament in a children's section of a library?
I'm sure they are. I'm sure the Bible is in the children's section, or else they will probably be bitching about it all day long.
Well, we can't verify that. But back to, like, the queer content in libraries, like, it is very scary because, like, yes, you were talking about some important things about how the Alliance Defending Freedom does this. I do fear that this is the start of trying to ban queer books in general.
Sure.
I'm glad that PEN America did talk about it. I will say that PEN America is not the best advocate right now because their organization's kind of messy. Their president just stepped down over a controversy. So I'm hoping that more LGBTQ groups take this more seriously and start bringing this up and talking about what's happening in these libraries.
Yeah, and maybe we need to question some of these, heterosexual themes. I mean, what are you going to do? You hate to question something like William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, to young...
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's cause chaos, Larry.
Young
Yes.
people who commit suicide and...
Mm-hmm. No, but it's a romantic story. There's all sorts of straight stories that we should go after. Let's go after it. They want to do this to us, we can do it right back.
And on that literary note, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.